Today I'm going to show you how to control your AX8 or AXFXII with Reaper. As laptops and DAWs have become more accessible, so has the access to MIDI automation. Whether you're using backing tracks and click tracks for live performance or creating cover/playthrough videos, MIDI automation can help you concentrate on your playing and not have to worry about hitting foot switches. Before we get started, let's talk about a couple of things. One, you can use the USB connection on your Fractal AX8 or AXFXII to set up your automation. You don't need a MIDI cable. Also, if you're using the USB, you want to make sure you have all your patch changes set up before beginning your automation. The Fractal USB does not like to multitask and will cause problems if you try to use AX8 while setting up your automation. So let's get started. You want to open your Reaper project and then go to the Preferences. And go under Audio and MIDI Device and make sure that your AXFXII or AX8 is selected under the MIDI outputs. Next, you'll want to make a new track to place the MIDI controls on. And then you want to set the routing, go over to MIDI hardware, and select your AXFXII or your AX8. And then next, we're going to add a new MIDI item onto this track. And generally what I do is make sure the area is selected for about the length of the track, with usually a little bit extra at the front to give it some time to get the patch selected and turned on. So once you have your MIDI item added, you'll double click the MIDI item area, and the first thing you need to do is go to your MIDI notes, make sure you're at the start of the track, and then go down here. The first time you've done it, it'll probably say velocity here. So you just need to make sure to go down to Bank Program Select, and then you're going to add an event for that. So just click the little plus here, and then if you double click here, oops, no, okay, oh, so we're going to add a Bank Select item here. So under the Bank MSB LSB, this is where you're going to enter your preset number, or the preset number. So you got to remember in MIDI that, say, preset 1 is going to be 0, preset 2 is going to be 1, and so forth. So for example, on the AX8, you have patches 1 through 8. So the first set would actually be called 0 through 7, and then the next set would actually be 8 through 15. So you just always got to kind of remember to subtract 1 when you're entering your numbers for patches and for scenes. But the first thing you have to do, just to be able to get it to select the appropriate patch, is enter the number here, which both of these are going to be the same. So on this particular track that I'm setting up, my scenes are all in the very first patch in the first bank, so I'm going to leave these as 0. The patch number is 7, so I'm actually going to label this as 6. Just to give you a little visual of how the math works for these MIDI numbers, let's say that you're wanting to choose a patch that's on bank 2 of your AX unit. Your bank in MIDI would actually be set as number 1. And then you'd want to, whichever patch that you want to use, you have to look at this 1 through 8 as actually 8 through 15. So number 1 is going to be 8, number 2 is going to be 9, number 3 is going to be 10, number 4 is going to be 11, and so forth. So in other words, if your patch was number 4 in bank 2, then you'd actually select 11 as your program number for the patch. And you'll see it puts a little marker here, and it has like the predetermined MIDI command that's in Reaper. In this case, it's called harpsichord, but it doesn't matter what this is called. So now, if you go to the event list, you'll see the first 2 actions are set. This first one selects the preset number and then the patch. So in this case, I'm on bank 1, patch 7. So now we'll have to add the scene that we want to select within that patch. So we'll just go to add, and then the type, we want to do a control change, and then you want your controller to always be 34, because this is the controller number in the AX8 and AXFXII. And the start of this song, I want it to be set on scene 2, because that's my lead tone that I play in this particular track. So I'll actually, because I want scene 2, I'm actually going to have this selected as value 1, because that's what will correspond on the AX8 for if you're compensating for 0 through 7. Number 2 is actually value 1. So hit OK, and then you see that it's now added a control change for the scene, which will put it on scene 2. And you want it to be the exact same time. So in other words, all 3 of these actions happen at the same time, selecting your the bank, the patch, and the scene. Now once this is set, as long as all of your changes are within the same patch, you don't have to do this command again. You can just do control changes and change the scenes as you go through the song. So in my track, the next change occurs at 20.1.94. So I will add another control change, again using channel or using controller 34, and this is going to go to scene 1 in that patch. So I'm going to enter this as 0, and then now at this point I'll be changing from my lead tone that's on patch 2 or on scene 2 to scene 1, which is my rhythm tone. And then I will move forward in the song, and I will not have another patch change until the solo. So I'll go through here and find the solo. And then right before the solo, and you may have to kind of play around with the timing on this, because sometimes it'll take a kind of a split second for it to change the patch, and so you want to be able to change slightly before you need the new scene. So that means I'm going to be roughly at 90.2.14. And usually once you set your cursor where you need the change to be, when you hit add, it will automatically enter that timestamp in the correct position. So again, I need controller 34. So again, I need a control change, and I need controller 34. And this time I'm going to be going back to my lead tone, which is on scene 1 or scene 2, but in this case I have to use value 1. So now I'll have one more scene change in the song, which occurs right after the solo. And I have my solo track showing here just so I can see where the patch changes need to be. Obviously, if I create my backing track, tracks like this will be muted out or just removed. So I'll go to the end of the solo, add another scene change, again using control change, controller 34, and then going back to my rhythm tone, which is on scene 1. And then that's all the changes for this song. So now you're ready to do your own automations and stop doing the pedal tap dance. If you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up and play on.